Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Cause this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're gonna give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go. What's up? What's up? What is up? You know what it is. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Bryant, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration. We about to get in. Before we do, I got to tell you, like I do every week, we're asking you to like, comment. We're asking you to make sure that you share and subscribe in the podcast world. You know what it is. It's sports, business, entertainment coming to you rough, rugged, and raw. It's another Summer Friday, and we're going to get in. This week's episode is called A Contact Sport. That's right, a contact sport. As a Pop Warner football coach, I have to do therapy a lot of times for moms and dads that are considering football. They want to ask me about the risks and the dangers of football, and I have to tell them that the rules are changing, the equipment is better, but at the end of the day, it's a contact sport, and it ain't for everybody. A good coach is going to teach them the right technique to make sure that they're safer. A good program is going to encourage them to do it the right way to prevent unnecessary injuries. But the truth of the matter is that you cannot, I repeat, you cannot take all risk out of a contact sport. The other thing is that life is a contact sport. I tell my players all the time when we're doing our little up-down drill, that's when you hit the ground, you got to get back up. I tell them all the time, I cannot promise you that you'll never fall in football. Matter of fact, I can almost promise you that you will. The question is, will you get back up faster than the person on the other side? And that is what makes a good athlete in a contact sport. The reason I love the game is because it's so much like life. We get knocked down, but you got to get up. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about a lot of people that got knocked down. And we're going to examine whether or not they got up. We're going to talk about whether or not the concept of a contact sport and who can thrive in it, how it spills into life. And with that, you know what it is, in the sense that I will be joined by two amazing brothers to help me round out this trio of Ball Hog Sports Talk. And we have none other than the Big Flow Show. What's up?
What's good, America?
None other than ETP, Els the producer, in the building. What's up?
What up? What up? What up?
The Enigma.
All of us played football. So we're I'm going to start off by saying we might be a little bit biased, right? Because we all started with football. But never did I think that the contact sport of this summer wouldn't have anything to do with the Olympics. The contact sport of this summer is officially the Crate Challenge. The Crate Challenge is officially the contact sport of the summer. First of all, let's start off with, would you do it? Would you try the Crate Challenge?
I think at this point in my career, I'm more of a coach. I think I could definitely coach. I could get some guys together, and I think I can get you over those crates.
What do you coach? What do you say when you're getting someone ready for the Crate Challenge? How are we getting them ready mentally, physically? What are we telling them as a coach?
I think it's about core strength. I think it's about core strength and balance. I think it's about tempo and go whatever.
Right.
And,
tempo, like that. Man.
It's about pain tolerance. It's about pain tolerance. In the end, it's pain tolerance.
So it's a contact sport. You got to be ready for it. You got to ETP. I think we can convince Ellis. Of the three of us, Ellis, you look the most apt to be in.
Yeah, you look the right.
Yo, you know, I might actually have to hire Big. That coaching pitch was spectacular. That was spectacular. Like tempo, you're bringing out the big words. I'm loving that. So you know, I don't have.
That's big enough. I mean, you know.
Well, you know, just these unique, you know, uncommon words. 2 syllables a lot for me on a Friday morning. You know what? I would absolutely not do it, but I tell you what, every time I watch a video, I look at it, I'm like, I think I could do that.
And that's the reason why the challenge survived.
Yeah, that's what's so genius about it.
You think so? Look, I've seen my couple of favorites. First of all, the thing that's so bad is, people obviously make it, but those videos almost never make it.
Why would they? I don't want to see that. We're watching it for you not to make it.
I saw two videos that were impressive that made it. One dude was rolling what else legal now? Dude was rolling a blunt the whole time, let you know how cool he was.
As long as you call it cannabis instead of weed, then it's okay.
That's fantastic. Cannabis. He was rolling cannabis in a cigar paper that he may or may not had taken the tobacco out of, aka a blunt. The whole time, cool as a fan. Then I saw another lady do it in high heels.
High heels was the champion.
Yeah,
she was world champion. Mic drop. Nobody should have ever done it after she did it in high heels. It's over.
I saw a grand lady do it. I don't know what she was thinking. She had to die. She let it on her neck. The thing about it that kills me is they all.
Why are we laughing? Wait, the worst part about this story, we're laughing now.
That's why it's popular. It's hilarious to watch people.
They all fall like they had no idea they could fall.
They all fall down.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be prepared. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to be prepared for the fall. Like, I'm going to be thinking, okay, if this thing goes, I'm going to ride it.
You got to be
all
prepared.
fall like they never imagined that they could fall.
So high heels, we're giving the stilettos the championship. The gentleman that is consuming cannabis, or the older guy who the little kid kicked the crates down. First of all, that little kid needs his butt whooped. Like that. I'm in a park in
you don't cuss much on this show, but I feel you on that one.
Man, look, man. Look, come on, man. Who are we giving the championship to? I think I'm gonna go with I'm going with the high heels.
Yeah, I have to go with them.
It's not even close.
Yeah,
you gotta say it's close. This dude rolled a blunt and he seemed like he did a good job. He sparked it. There's something to be said about that, because that means he wasn't even concentrating.
No,
that's less than 50% of people on earth can walk flat ground in high heels. Like, the world is half women. Those are the most people that wear high heels, and not even all women can wear high heels. You went over some crates.
Stilettos.
Yeah, stilettos. Like, nothing chunky.
Not making you can roll a real tight blunt, especially while walking. And this dude's rolling. He's not even paying attention.
That says to me that he's done that several times.
Yeah, I was gonna say I may or may not have done that, so it wasn't as impressive.
I'll go from there, because we give the championship in that particular context. Boy, we'll go through Hood Olympics at some point, because before the summer ends, we ain't got to do it this morning, but we got to figure out what would be the ultimate Hood Olympics. Crate challenge today. We're going to leave it in a league of its own, because it has gone viral. So we won't undermine the Hood Olympics this week, but before the end of the summer, we got to come up with what the Hood Olympic sports would be. But in the real Olympics, we noticed that there was a particular young lady missing.
I have one question for y'all before you move on.
Go ahead.
If somebody could put in the comment section where the hell they get these crates from, I just need to know where you get the crates from and who's profiting off these crates.
All the DJs. The DJs that used to be.
Is that what it is? All DJs,
retired DJs.
Yeah, retired DJs. We finally got somebody that's gonna buy these crates.
Okay. That's nice enough. If you have a comment, put that in there. Appreciate you.
I will say this, because there was someone who was missing from the Olympics, and ironically, because we talked about the gentleman that was rolling cannabis, she did so because she failed a drug test, and marijuana was the substance of her choice. But Sha'Carri Richardson, in her first meet back in the Prefontaine, got DFL, as we call it in the hood. That's dead freaking last. And we don't say freaking, but in this show we will. She got last, 9th out of 9 participants in the Prefontaine Classic. There was a big buildup that resulted in a letdown, because she's going to finally face the Jamaicans. It was this sort of a call for nationalism. Sha'Carri, against Elaine and Shelly. And it was this big buildup that ended in a dud. But that did not stop what was the post-race interview, where she acted all Sha'Carri-ish, acted straight ignorant. Like, she did with the hands. It was just, I just thought it was like, come on, let somebody, especially in this new age of name, image, and likeness, somebody should be working with her, and be who you're gonna be. But she has the capability, because of her magnetic personality, because we haven't had a dominant female sprinter since really Flojo. While I love Allison Felix, she's a 200, 400 meter runner. While I love a Thing Moo, and I love Sydney McLaughlin. We like speed in this country. Sha'Carri Richardson has the opportunity to be that person. And let's first talk about the race and then the post-race and then the post-race, because it has now been a domino effect. Allison Felix did speak about it on one of the late night shows. There was a publicity stunt. Try to say that quickly. A publicity stunt by one of the Jamaican hotels that offer a trip. I thought it was a publicity stunt. So let's talk about it. Sha'Carri is a topic that it seems like the gift that keeps giving. What do you think about it? I'll start with you, ETP, on this one. She was 9th out of 9 participants, yet she was still the feature story after the race, and that's not normally the case.
Yeah, I think we'll see how it plays out. It's always good for an opportunity to be in front of the camera and to be talked about, but she's definitely going overboard. You know, you got to perform, right? You can get your Beats by Dre deals and ads and Nike and all that, but you got to do the job. And she was definitely, you know, she wrote some checks with her mouth, and when it came time to cash them, she came in dead last. Like not third, not fifth, not close, dead last. You know, over half a second slower than the winner, Elaine Thompson-Harris. So she got to regroup. You know, I think she's young. She's 21. She can probably compete in at least 3 more Olympics. And the good thing about the Olympics is
she hasn't competed in one yet. She
right, 3,
right?
3 total minimum.
She was a no-show,
right? Right. So she could qualify for at least 3 more.
There you go. She was eligible.
Yeah.
But it shows you too that the media will build you up just to knock you down. When it comes to your personal presentation, that in itself is a contact sport. We were all on the Sha'Carri train before the weed failure. Come on now. America was ready to embrace Sha'Carri. We didn't care about the fact that we didn't know how to pronounce Sha'Carri. And we didn't care about the fact that she was very extra and flamboyant with her personality and very straight to the point when it came to the interviews. We had ignored all that because we were on the Sha'Carri train. Now, all of a sudden, the Sha'Carri train doesn't have as many people on board. I don't know what you think about it, but I think it's a contact sport in terms of her public figuredom and how that connects or disconnects with her personal qualities. What do you say, Big Flo Show?
I think she needs a publicist or somebody like that, so image consultant or somebody like that. She had an opportunity. Everybody felt bad for her because, you know, the death in her family and people were on her, but not as bad as they could have been, whatever. She had a chance to bounce back. I don't know what she's been doing the month. I'm thinking that marijuana is a PED for her because she ran so slow the second time. But, like, when you do bad.
Slow. She just was 9th of the 9.
She ran 11.14.
She ran the slowest.
But that's still fast. You can't run to 11.14. You wouldn't call yourself
I got a chance.
Yeah.
More of a
coach.
Got
no chance.
You
got a better chance with the crate challenge. At you know, a healthy size man, you got a better chance at the crate challenge. You have it.
If I try that crate challenge, one of the little boys kick them crates though. I'm coming for him. I'll run at 11.14 at that point.
I'm gonna haunt you. If I die, I'm gonna haunt you.
But yeah, so she just needs to shut up, man. I mean, so first of all, I think you got to question when people are throwing shade at you. She denied the invitation to the hotel.
The hotel, yeah.
That's idiotic. They embarrassing you to invite you to the hotel. You're dignifying that by denying it. Shows that like that went over your head. Then the girl comes out and says, "We got to support her. We got to come for it."
As Allison Felix said that on a late night show.
Yeah. So even if you don't believe that, publicly take it. Like, get a chance to go on the positive side, and she's not taking any of the sides. So whatever. I mean,
you're not a Sha'Carri fan. We'll see, man. Sha'Carri, I hope she gets it together. We're in a weird transition period where, because there's a legalization happening of marijuana, the stigma has kind of been lifted, but there's no federal level, no federal level legislation yet. So we still kind of have a stigma connected to marijuana. But I think the truth of the matter is, when you are competing, you talk about a contact sport. While track is not a contact sport, the level of competition the level of competition is such that if you haven't really done anything in 2 months and you go out there, you're supposed to get last. What happened was supposed to happen in track, really, because she has not been in competition. She hasn't been in that type of rhythm, and that's what normally happens. And as a track aficionado and a track coach and a former track guy, yeah, he's like, I did that. Yeah, I threw my weight around right there on that.
We got a guest. We got a guest coming on.
You gotta get your weight up.
I'm talking about me.
Throw your weight around. Get your weight up a little bit.
Yours truly, baby. I will say I'm not surprised that she was 9th out of 9 because you're not in competition rhythm. And I know the buildup was fun for all us social media folk and those extreme patriots on both sides. USA! And the Jamaicans was ready to but at the end of the day, no, I'm not surprised. Real track folks, those who would run, understand that when you take 2 months off, you're not going to come back in perfect rhythm. Yeah. And so we'll see what she does from here. But I just wish her post-race interview was a little bit better. Like, just be humble. Right?
But that's the thing.
Make a song like that? What's that song?
Yeah. Sit down. Be humble. Yeah. But that's the thing. I think, the youth kind of shows, right? I mean, like you said, it's competitive. I mean, you got to be alpha. You got to have more confidence in you to, outrun anybody to the left or right of you than probably any sport, right? Like it's a high-end level of cockiness that you need to have. Her youth is showing. And the problem is, like, she was surprised because she was talking all that. She was talking all that madness going into the race, even after having that time off. So she should have understood the game, understood that she needs to work her way back in, but she put that on herself. She turned the spotlight onto herself. Nobody would have really said anything. They say, look, she was going through a lot. She didn't make the Olympics. She's still maybe grieving. Like, there could have been a little bit more empathy and compassion, but she scorched the earth, and she's basically trying to protect her own insecurities by lashing out and, talking about a Jamaican hotel and Allison Felix and all of these other people, when in reality, she just needs to get focused, and hopefully she gets back on track and learns what humility really means.
Sideshow. It's become a sideshow, but my man, what up, Cheeky Black in the house, True Food Jordan, asked this question or makes this statement. Don't interview
Randy
her.
Watson to everyone on Facebook.
Randy Watson. She says, don't interview her. And this is one of our guests that listens all the time. So we thank you for that. And I would be remiss if I didn't say here, please like, comment, and share. Tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. Make sure that you subscribe in the podcast world. That's right. I did it right there. Shameless plug. But the statement he says is don't interview her. She finished last. But the sideshow that has become the interviews for the media, especially in a sport that doesn't have the ratings of NBA finals. This is the Prefontaine. This is like one of their highlight events. You better believe they're going to interview Sha'Carri Richardson because they know that she's going to give them some material such that allows for the conversation to continue, for that clip to become viral, for NBC to get more traction because of it. And I would just say to her, if she were within earshot of me, and hopefully she is, maybe she's watching and listening to the Ball Hog Sports Talk, I would just say to her, don't become the sideshow. You've got the material to be the entree. Don't be the side dish because you have all the goods. You're a phenomenal young track star, and I hope that is where our conversation will be when it comes to Sha'Carri Richardson. But I will say this, in that same Prefontaine Classic on the men's side, 8 of the 9 men in the 100-meter field ran under 10 seconds. And if that don't tell you that they all smoking weed, I'm just joking. They all on PEDs, that weed.
No excuse for
but yo, track is changing, man. 8 of the 9 guys. Who got to be the 9th guy? Who was the Sha'Carri Richardson of the men?
And he ran a 10:09. It's not like
Gillespie. Cravon Gillespie. I think is that the one that played at University of Florida? That might be the one that played at University of Florida. I don't know. Cravon, my man Cravon, got 9th out of 9 and ran a 10.09. Just shows you where we are with this elite speed, man. These cats is getting real fast. This week, and I'm going to pause for the cause and be a little selfish today. I celebrated 2 amazing days this week. On the 23rd, my oldest had a birthday. And on the 27th, which is today, my baby boy's got a birthday. Happy birthday to the Virgos. The oldest son of mine shares a birthday with Kobe Bryant. And then the very next day was 8/24, which we call Kobe Bryant Day. I love that the Lakers still.
Your anniversary in there somewhere too?
That was last Friday, a week ago. Yeah.
Last Friday. Yeah.
Or it was on the 19th. Sorry.
Efficient. That's efficient. Celebrate.
Efficient, baby.
Bang,
you call it efficient. I call it an expensive
week. Yeah.
Very expensive. Brother, I'm on fumes. Come on. Hey, advertisers, come holler at the Ball Hog Sports. I'm on fumes in August.
Well, now you got a whole year. You got a whole year now.
Yeah.
Till Christmas.
Kobe Bryant Day till Christmas, right? Yeah, that touche as a dad. Touche till Christmas. But Kobe Bryant Day, 8/24. The Lakers gifted the babies born on that day with a number 8 beanie baby, or number 8 beanies, not beanie baby. A beanie is the joint, right? What is a beanie actually?
Beanie is a little hat.
Really expensive.
We call it a wave cap.
Wave cap. That sounds like some LA thing. Could you wear a beanie doing the crate challenge? Now we talking about contact sport, baby.
Only if you have number 8 on it.
No, only have your number 8 on it. But I like that they keep acknowledging Kobe Bryant. Shout out to the Mamba, baby. Your legend and your spirit still lives, man. Shout out, Mamba. I miss you, man. And I didn't know you personally, but everyone who encountered and watched the fierce competitor that you were. You talk about a contact sport, while on paper, basketball is not a contact sport. The fierceness in which Mamba played indeed made it feel like such, because he was one of a kind, man. So shout out to Mamba. All right. Name, image, and likeness. We got to talk about it, man, because, again, it's becoming, at least ideally, like a contact sport, because only the strong are surviving right now. Certain institutions are stepping up and trying to protect their players to make sure that they don't take lumps. They don't take one across the head. They aren't concussed because of the overwhelming impact of trying to enter something as a business person with not having any business sense. Notre Dame has done it. They've tried to help some of their players and protecting their players. Not a lot of them are doing things right now. Their offensive line got something with a big barbecue chain, which is, I think, perfect. But universities are trying to protect their athletes before they get into this business, because the concept of contact sport and not knowing what you're doing, you could get hurt. Some of these athletes could get hurt. There's been an over-sexualization of the college athletes. There was an article that was out this week about how a lot of the brands are just sort of objectifying the young women college athletes. And in my mind, I'm like, duh. Without any guidelines to protect it, without any standard for these athletes, duh, of course, brands are going to sexualize and objectify female college athletes. That's what brands do. Remember GoDaddy? That's how they got big. So duh. But there have been some examples this week that I thought were better examples. The Braves, the Atlanta Braves, are the first MLB team that has created a name, image, and likeness agreement with 2 of their local athletes. One is a quarterback from Georgia Tech. One is a gymnast from Georgia. What do you think, name, image, and likeness? I'll start with you on this one, the Big Flow Show. Are we seeing a breakthrough with some of these recent deals? Purdue they did something with a walk-on, and Drew Brees is behind that. Are we seeing a breakthrough with a little more of a transformation and it's shaping into real business opportunities for these college athletes? I'll start with you, the Big Flow Show.
I think that the number one people who are cashing in right now are the businesses getting some free advertising. So I never even heard what happened at University of Miami. Did they take that deal with the whole health club thing?
I think they did, with every player getting a nominal amount.
$500 a month, something like that. Yeah. Okay, so they took that deal. Then the Built Bar guys, they came out and they did whatever. So I think the people who are making the most out of it are people looking at. I think we figured out that BYU is only $12,000 a year. So
less than that.
No, it was $6,000 for the semester. I went and looked at it again. So it's $12,000
per semester. Oh, got it.
And so at the end of the day,
you fact check yourself. I like that. We thorough here at the Ball Hog Sports Talk. You ain't messing around. We got nice cost $6,000. You fact check yourself, boy. Pat yourself on the back, Big Flow Show. That's our hype, man. Not everybody in the podcast world doing that. We fact check ourselves. Go ahead.
So at the end of the day, I think that like some of the brands are cashing in right away. But then they start looking. The NCAA started looking, saying, was that an unfair advantage to do what Built Bar did? Because now you have 100. however many people on scholarship at BYU as opposed to the 83. So I think that the NCAA is kind of doing the guinea pig. Like, let's just go out there and see what happens, and then we're going to come back later and decide what's illegal. So this next year or two, I think is going to be formative for a lot of people. I think some people are going to make some big cash, big money in weird ways, and then they're going to start making some rules. But it's starting to come and find ways that the schools, what's interesting is the small market schools that have good alumni bases are going to have to do some stuff artificial to make things work. You know, they're going to have to find a way to step up because people are just going to sit back so long and watch people make all this money.
I like how you said that. Hold on. How many syllables is that? Artificial. 4 syllables to say they got to cheat. Yeah, you put that big fancy word out there and say they got to figure out a way to cheat. I like how you said it.
I've been reading the dictionary, boy.
Yeah, when your eyebrows go up to the left, you're trying to find a word, a fancy 4-syllable word to say they got to figure out a way to cheat. Who going to cheat the best? That's basically.
I mean, you know what I'm saying, but you just give people, like, it's not even like you get a local dude. I mean, look, I'm over here figuring out a way that I could get some money in my son's
Don't
pocket.
tell on yourself.
He's in high school, so I can't.
Yeah, you so damaged, man. It's legal. It's legal now.
It's legal, man. You good.
You so paranoid.
In public no more.
I'm just saying. I'm not thinking about it being illegal. I'm just trying to find ways for him to cash in and see what he can do.
You should.
No, B Brown saying don't incriminate yourself. I'm like,
I was just, right. You're right. I'm not used to this. I told you it's very similar to the cannabis thing. Like, transactions didn't happen in public back in the day. So to hear him say that, I'm like, oh no. We gotta get that out. But you're right. It is legal. I stand corrected.
I think it's slowly but surely going to form itself. People are going to make these big, huge, creative things to do. Anyone who's got kids out there, I think the name of the game is Instagram and TikTok followers. Those are the ways. That's the way to get yourself paid. People make a lot of followers, you get that. So at the end of the day, I think it's forming. It's going to be great. The schools are embracing it a lot more. It's going to be fantastic.
We'll see where it goes. ETP, you are a brand marketing genius. You have been formally trained to do so. You have made a lot of money doing so. I just want to know, give me the 30-second version of how you think this is playing out. When you see these deals, you hear about the institutions trying to create a support system around these deals. There's a fancy word in contract law, unconscionable, meaning that the agreement is just so egregious in one way, unconscionable, that you can basically have some recourse. Are we seeing these situations such that young people, 18, 19, 20-year-old, are going to enter in unconscionable terms that are one-sided, or is it all fair game? I'll give you the last word before we transition.
Hey, if your next word doesn't have more than 6 syllables, don't even say it though.
I was gonna say, you guys are raising the bar on the vocabulary today. So what I will say is, I think what's happening is the schools, the institutions are conducting due diligence right now. And as a result, I think ultimately, all of these kind of hodgepodge, one-off deals and individual deals are going to continue to happen. It's starting to filter out, but what I think is going to happen very quickly is, and we're starting to see it, schools are going to do team-wide or, athletic department-wide deals so that it starts to standardize. The students are more supported, or the athletes are more supported, and it's a little bit more regulated at the school level specifically.
Yep.
So ultimately, it's just going to turn into, while this opened up the can of worms for the athletes, it's really just kind of employing the student athletes through the school. So all of these one-offs, because it's going to become inefficient for the agencies and the brands to be having all these individual micro endorser deals with the individual athletes. They're just going to automatically, they're going to take after what, the MMA booster at Miami did and just go after a full team deal, similar to what Built Bar did with BYU. You've got other brands that are thinking about how do we just get more scale and more efficiency, because the individual athlete is only so valuable, and there's only so many individual athletes in the NCAA that have as much of a following. Like Suni Lee, she's going to get bank, right? But 4th string tight end on Jackson State University isn't really going to get you the reach that you need as a marketer. So I think ultimately we're just going to start to see, you'll still have the cream of the crop, but it's going to be similar to, professional level. There's team-wide deals, and in the good part of it is the team-wide deals will get handled. The students and student athletes can actually get their revenue, like they can actually get some revenue sharing from it. And they hopefully won't be as distracted as they probably are right now, trying to build an entire business because they're thirsty and hungry for money, but let the school actually try to support them. They'll get their money too, but it at least adds a little bit more structure and hopefully just keeps the kids, literal kids, focused on the academics if that's why they're there. I know there's all these other professional opportunities, but let's not forget that these are institutions of higher learning on Vocabulary Day.
I said that earlier, that was my challenge. I thought that learning just took another step down in terms of priority on campus. And Lord knows that it has suffered tremendously already. But when I hear about it, and then we'll pivot, I just, and I hate using this word, but sometimes it fits. I just feel like, again, the athlete is being exploited.
Don't say it.
The exploitation, and I know you're like, wait a minute, but they're getting paid. I'm like,
at least they're getting paid now.
They are getting paid, but market value matters. It matters, right? Because you just talked about it. It is going to be either team deal or bust, but even groups, I talked about Notre Dame, is the entire offensive line. How do you scale it, right? Unless you have something very extreme beauty, where a lot of brands are objectifying these young female college athletes, or something is just quirky. Like last week, we talked about the Alabama player who has a very unique name, Juck Quincy, or Good Quincy. We couldn't figure, you going with Georgia.
I'm going
Georgia. Man, the GA is Juck. Somebody in his family is from Georgia. But Georgia, the thing was, unless you have something like that, which, I don't want to call it exploitation, but they didn't sign him because of anything on the up and up, right? They are sort of laughing at the name. And it was Kool-Aid. So when you look at that from just a cultural standpoint, you just, yes, I'm happy that he's getting a check. No, I don't think we've moved the needle on making sure these student athletes know what revenue streams they should pursue, know what their real market value is, understand how to transition from making that check into building a career and a brand that is sustainable for life. And that's where I would like to see if the institutions like Miami and other schools that are building departments around it, if they're listening, make sure that we understand, or the athletes understand how to transition from being exploited, because right now they're early adopters, to taking full advantage of these opportunities. And I'll leave it there.
Can I ask a quick question? Can I ask a quick question? I know I'm derailing everything today. Do you feel like these the schools they're smiling now, but you think Built Bar, they just circumvented having to pay BYU a larger endorsement deal, which they would have had to pay than the money that they're doing these student athletes and the favor they're doing for them?
Absolutely.
That example, just to be clear, Built Bar actually does have a deal with the athletic department. Like they have a broader deal.
And this is in addition to, because I was gonna say, man, you could come out there and be like, listen, guys, I want to give all you guys a Nike deal.
I would say absolutely.
But that's
even in the Built Bar situation, right? Built Bar's current deal, if they wanted to double, or in this case, magnify by 100, at least, let's just go with units, 100 players on the team. They wanted to magnify that exposure, then the opportunity by 100, then the number would be 100-fold. They're not paying 100 times what they would have paid in order to get 100 times the exposure. They circumvented a new deal where it would cost them a lot more for a lot more exposure by using individual units, these athletes, to get the same type of additional exposure, in my humble opinion.
So we talked about that before, and I think you're right. But again, it goes back to efficiency, right? If I'm a brand, why am I going to negotiate all of these individual deals? I can just go to the team, and the team can represent the entire. They have their legal team. They've done sponsorship deals. They have all the infrastructure in place, so they can infrastructure. Write that down. So they have that all in place, and so as a result, it just makes it a lot more efficient for the brand to do a team deal, even if it's the same thing as having all of the players. They could negotiate for cheaper, but the time and the challenges, like these kids don't have the legal team. They don't have their business set up. So go to the team, say, look, we're going to pay all the kids this much money. The team will take whatever they're going to take off the top. And in the end, it's more efficient for everybody and it keeps everything structured. So
I agree with you. Stylistically, it makes more sense for the brand. I'm coming at it purely from the athlete standpoint. It's like, this isn't much different than it was before. It's just now, they're getting at least an incremental percentage of what it would be total value. But I just hope the institutions understand, don't let these players just get lulled into a place that is similar to the old times when they get a percentage. We used to get things when that Nike or Adidas or Under Armour has a deal with the institution. We used to get things. We get trinkets.
Right.
We get
shoes
gear,
and sweats,
right?
Yeah.
But it paled in comparison to the overall value that Nike being our sponsor, or Adidas or Under Armour, right? Like the give and take was one-sided, and I'm still thinking that it's a bit one-sided. I'll give you last word. We got to move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Like, ultimately, as an athlete, as the talent, you're always going to have to negotiate your value with somebody. You would hope that if it's having to negotiate it with the school has the ability, or they have your interest in mind for their interest, right? Versus the brand coming in and say, look, I'll give you some free food. Anytime you come into my restaurant, you get free food. You just got to do X, Y, Z. The school also in the team has to keep the players especially now that you have transfer portal and all of this, like there's some leverage there, right? So as a result, I'd rather, as an athlete, negotiate with the people that need me to perform versus somebody that's just trying to literally exploit me and, kind of get high marketing value for low cost.
In this episode of the Contact Sport, to me, the marketing and the branding and what the NIL means, those deals is indeed a contact sport, because there's going to be people that are on the wrong end of it. They're going to get knocked down, and good luck getting picked back up. The exploitation of these young ladies, and what I would think would be the one-sidedness of a lot of these deals, is becoming a contact sport. But the other contact sport of the summer we talked about was the Crate Challenge. And now here on the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, you have seen it happening in real time. We now have a new contact sport right here for the summer. It will be called vocabulary. We are asked live here on air. ETP Els, the producer, you said the word infrastructure. We have been asked by one of our live listeners, can I get an alternate pronunciation and country of origin? Don't fail us now. ETP, let them see what you can do. Infrastructure, alternate pronunciation, and country of origin. What you got?
I'll start with country of origin, and this is a little known fact. It actually got written out of the history books. Wakanda is the country of origin.
Gotta be Wakanda.
And the ultimate pronunciation is infrastructure.
Yeah.
Infrastructure.
But I think it's from Haiti now.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta be Haitian. But in this week, man, it's been an interesting week about contact sport, because here it is, Allen Iverson, AI, the answer. He gave an answer to a question on, I don't remember which show it was. Damn right, it was one of the shows. He said,
Shannon Sharp's podcast.
He says that on whose podcast? It was two. He went
Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay.
All right. He says that he would have been a better football player than basketball player. AI, the answer, the killer crossover, was an amazing high school quarterback in Virginia. An amazing high school safety. He was recruited by everybody. But then he had the altercation I think his was in the bowling alley, where he was arrested, or was Randy Moss's in the bowling alley? I get him confused. But anyway, Allen Iverson was arrested.
Randy Moss is at the school.
Moved away from him. But Georgetown and the amazing system that they had going on there decided to go ahead and allow him to continue playing. So do you think that Allen Iverson is on to something? Would he have been a better football player than basketball player? And then that transcends to, you know who I'm going to say, LeBron James. LeBron James had to weigh in and say he would have been he didn't say a better football player. He said that he would have been a great football player. To which Chris Carter was like, bruh, I can't sign off on that. I can't co-sign on that because it takes a different type of grit. In this episode, a contact sport, with Allen Iverson, who seemed to play the game like a football player, would he have been a better football player? LeBron James, 6'8", 250. Would he have been a great football player, not better. He's one of the greatest of all times in basketball. So what are we going here? Are we thumbs up? Now we've had several examples. Gonzalez and Gates and what's the big boy name with the University of Miami and
Julius Peppers.
New Orleans.
Julius Peppers, great example.
Not Julius Peppers is another one. No, I'm talking about one with Miami. Why am I tripping? I'm blanking. Light skinned guy. He had big numbers. What's his name?
Jimmy Graham for the Bears. Jimmy Graham. He plays for the Bears now.
Graham. So we've got these examples. But again, to me, they're far and few between. So I'll open it up. I'll start with you on this one, ETP. Is Allen Iverson on to something? Will LeBron James be a great player? Or is Chris Carter saying it takes a different type of grit? Anybody can catch the ball in the backyard when y'all pulling flags when it's touched. But when a man hits you in your mouth, when a man is moving you against your will, as Shannon Sharp like to say, it brings out a whole different personality. Again, we are biased. We are all football players. So I qualify it before we get into it. But that ain't going to stop us getting into it. I'll start with you, ETP.
Yeah, I mean, first off, it pisses me off, and I can only imagine how much it still might affect Allen Iverson that we actually could have seen this, right? Just based on what happened in his hometown and his legal issues and all of that. So it pisses me off, honestly, that we even have to consider it because we could have seen it. But
should have seen it. Should have seen it. That was a different America. Wink. It was a lot more in front of us. It was emboldened, the racism in which things were handled very differently. There's no way that it should have been handled that way. So thank you for pausing to say that. And now what do you think about the merits of him playing football over basketball?
I think Iverson played like a cornerback, like a safety when he played basketball. He was a hard-nosed, he got injured, he got knocked down. They say get knocked down 7, get up 8, even though that's not possible, but he was that guy, right? And so I think just his grit, just the way he operated, I don't think it's even a question. If his athleticism, his instincts, I think it easily translates to football. With LeBron, I don't know. With others, I think there's definitely a lot of grit required. I played, in high school, I played with a lot of guys that didn't make it through the double sessions and ended up playing in the winter basketball, on the basketball team in the winter because they didn't like to get hit.
That meme? They show you what we used to call hamburger, the one drill where Oklahoma or Bull, whatever they call it now. Yeah. It has now since been it's illegal. It's been banned. Right. It's been discredited. There you go. All these fancy words today. But the meme says that this drill has created more basketball players than any basketball camp, right? So to your point, but you think that Iverson's style of play gives him a little more credibility. Now, football is also you can play at any size, but whatever size you are dictates really what you can play. Allen Iverson at 6 foot, and that's being very generous.
with stilettos on.
Right, stilettos on. Great challenge.
They get
6
you
foot
the
on the great challenge. At the top of the great challenge, 6 foot. But he was very explosive. He would dunk the ball. I remember at Notre Dame, I saw him play. He dunked on a 7-foot center. He was very explosive. So it gives you a little bit of confidence that he could play because he could play so many positions at 6'1", 180 pounds.
That's
I say 150, 180. He probably played basketball 150 in order to play football. He would have had to get up to 170. He would have
had to be in a gym. He said it himself. He was like, I hated lifting weights because they were too heavy. So you ain't playing football if you're not in the weight room, baby.
Not successfully. But he had a lot more in his stature. He had a lot more positions that he could play. LeBron James, on the other hand, at 6'8", you ain't playing. I ain't gonna say not, but I've seen a few 6'6" receivers. Maybe a tight end at 6'8", but really you're going to be in the trenches at 6'8" more times than not. You're going to be a tackle at 6'8". He wasn't going to play tackle.
I mean, Gronkowski 6'7", right?
6'7", tight end he could have played. So let's stick with the positions we think he could have played. LeBron James at tight end, I can do that. LeBron James at tight end, I can see that. Do we see any other position he could play? The limitations on the position itself makes me feel as though I don't know, man. I don't know. Quickly, and please do chime in to our audience. Like we say every week, please like, comment, and share. Comment. Could LeBron James have done it? What position could he have played?
I believe LeBron could have done it. You see how LeBron fixed his body, how much bigger and stronger he's gotten. Now, still basketball big. I think he could have got strong enough to do it. I think he could play tight end. He could play receiver. I mean, he may have been more situational, may not have been every down, but I think he'd be so hard to cover. He can move. He's so athletic. He can get up. He's strong, physical. I don't know if he's physical enough to be a defensive end type, but I don't think anybody's going to stop him coming off the edge. I think he'd do it. I think Allen Iverson, he's on to something that's legal and helps you in the crate challenge.
You believe more in the viability of LeBron James' football career than Allen Iverson? I gotta go opposite on you. And first of all, let me start off. And I'm very comfortable in my sexuality, but I'm proud to say I have not paid particular attention to the development of LeBron James' body.
He's I don't like how you implicating like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like how you threw that out there. You saw how he did with his body. No, I did not. I have not paid attention to what that man did with his body. But I gotta think it's the reverse. I gotta think. Watch this. I think it's transposed. Look at that. I think it is Allen Iverson would be the better football prospect to me because he can play more positions.
Maybe a corner. I think at corner he probably would be deadly.
He could have played corner, safety, scat back, wide receiver, and
so I think he thinks he can be. He's a quarterback, and he's from the same area as Michael Vick, and he thinks he's a better quarterback than Michael Vick. And because at Newport News or whatever,
Newport News. Yes.
He thinks that he would come in the NFL and have been a quarterback. I'm saying, I don't know. I saw him do a lot of that running around and do something. He looked good. So to say he could play slot or to say play corner, I buy that.
When
safety,
somebody put safety, he would have to get bigger safety. But when somebody put their pads on you, and we're still in camp right now. We had a scrimmage last night. Shout out to my East Orange Junior Jaguar, baby Mike division. But when somebody put their pads on you, a basketball player recently moved over, and his first play of contact, it was aggressive. I put him against a kid that is very, very aggressive because I wanted to just rip the Band-Aid off. And I heard his mom and dad like, oh my goodness, it's a different. We can talk about the pictures are one thing, but when somebody put their pads on you, when you really go against somebody aggressively that is aggressive and they aggressively run through your chest, they ain't trying to avoid nothing. They running through your chest. That's when you find out at that very moment, at that instant, that basketball and football is just different. Football is a contact sport. Not only do you have to take the hit of that person running through your chest, but you got to hit the ground. The ground's undefeated. ETP, who do you think of the two? Is it LeBron James or Allen Iverson that really would have been a better football player? And all of it is hypothetical, so who cares, right? We can have fun with this. I'm going Allen Iverson. The Big Flow Show is saying it was LeBron who would have probably had a better NFL career or football career. Who do you say?
I'm gonna go with Iverson, man. You cannot flop in NFL. There's no flopping that will get you a penalty. I mean, you can do something. Yeah, well, now you can't taunt. So maybe now that the rules are changing, the NFL is getting a little bit more,
Don't say it.
Hands off. But yeah, no, I still go with Iverson, man. The mentality, it's unmatched. It's unmatched. Like that is, I agree with Chris Carter. You have to have a mentality to be ready to run through a brick wall. I don't know that I've seen it, but LeBron is athletically one of the most gifted people, and he's super intelligent and has instincts like no other. I'm sure he'd be great, but I'd be more interested to see Allen Iverson play football.
Touche. We'll leave it there, man. A contact sport episode of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Please like, please comment, please share. That was an interesting segment. Allen Iverson versus LeBron James as a football player. I like
LeBron James.
Connected to LeBron James in more ways than one, and some a lot more entertaining than others. A la that one bonehead play. J.R. Smith started school at North Carolina A&T. They allowed him to walk on as a golfer. You got to follow that on Twitter. It's pretty funny. They asked him, do you have a meal plan? He said, yeah, on my American Express. He said, are you staying in the dorm? Nah, bro. I'm off campus. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Shout out to J.R. Smith. He also took the opportunity to brag about doing his own work. Ain't nobody doing my work for me. I'm doing my own work. And I like that.
Well,
I like that. So shout out to J.R. Smith. Hopefully, a Renaissance man is showing that education still matters. We are supporting you, brother, here at the Ball Hog Sports Talk. As we transition, because we're going to get out of here shortly, y'all. As we transition, I want everyone to please chime in. Who would have been a better a football player of the basketball greats, Allen Iverson or LeBron James? And tell us why. We want to hear why. In this week's episode of Contact Sport, being a black quarterback in the NFL has been a contact sport. One particular organization specifically is infamous for all the wrong reasons when it comes to a black quarterback. The Denver Broncos. Why? Because the first black starter, was Marlon Briscoe of the Denver Broncos. He refused to move to a different position. And after having a great year in that year that he started, he was cut because he didn't want to switch positions.
And then he switched positions.
He switched positions. We're not doing it.
You have two choices, my friend.
Yeah, which way we going on this one, man? I'm taking the road less traveled. I'm not doing it.
Switched.
Yeah.
And played long.
Switch. But since then, they've only had one other starting quarterback. My dog, Tupelo, Mississippi, Jerry Jackson, J-Rock in the building. You know Notre Dame's finest, baby. You know what I'm saying? Just as country as they get. They squoze now. That's my dog, man. One of my best friends on the planet Earth. My classmate at Notre Dame. But that is not what you would say should be a very good description of an organization that has had so many quarterbacks. Marlon Briscoe cut after a year. Jerry Jackson, because of injuries, he played like one game. He was yanked really quickly in 2003. And now they have Teddy Bridgewater. So while I wanted to celebrate Teddy Bridgewater, it seemed as though it gave us an opportunity to do a history of what it means to be a black quarterback in the NFL. And that in itself is a contact sport because you've got this whole hidden agenda when it comes to the fans. Do they embrace the black quarterback? You know, in the Marlon Briscoe days, they wanted him to switch because it was this almost clinical diagnosis that black quarterbacks weren't smart enough to lead a team. So shout out to Teddy Bridgewater. I didn't have much more on Teddy, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to look at an organization. And it seemed it baffled me that since Marlon Briscoe, they've only had one other black quarterback, to start in an NFL game. So Teddy Bridgewater, no pressure, dog, from Dade County. No pressure from Florida boys. But go do your thing there, man. Shout out to Teddy Bridgewater. You know what it is? It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Bryant, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, here for another great week. This is the Contact Sport episode, and I, like every week, have to provide the weekly Lamelo Watch. Look, why you always rolling your eyes, man? Y'all two light-skinned brothers should be happy that I do a weekly Lamelo Watch, man. Y'all
why do I have to be lumped up? See now you're stereotyping.
Y'all two light-skinned brothers. Y'all should be celebrating this, man.
I celebrated Bridgewater.
You rolling your eyes as soon as I say Lamelo. The weekly Lamelo ball update. Lamelo, man, is look, he's been reported a date in this
Jello's brother watch.
Jello's brother. Yo, Jello, keep doing it, Jello. But it has been reported that this 19-year-old, is he 19 yet? Savant. Well,
he just turned 20.
He turned 20?
Now he's turned 20.
He's a savant. He's been reported for being a savant and for other reasons. He's dating this 32-year-old Instagram model. Just pause there for a second. That is an actual career. 32-year-old Instagram model. It's been reported. I think she's
just trying to get likes. That's all she's
trying
doing.
to get likes. She robbing the cradle.
You've been exploited, Lamelo.
You've been exploited. Hey, but she robbing the cradle, man. Lamelo. Make sure you don't have a Kardashian curse type relationship with her, man. You got to make sure you protect your peace, my brother.
Ooh.
I know that we gotta get through the rest of the show, but I gotta do so with a WNBA update. WNBA this week is, I think, a good one because Brittany Griner dunked the ball, and this is her, I think, 15th career dunk. No, 15th Like her
15th in the
15th
WNBA.
career dunk,
in
8th
WA.
dunk of the year. She's been dunking a lot this year.
Hey, that's 15 more than me.
But just think about that. We talk about lowering the rims. We would never track how many dunks a man in the NBA has. Yet
I
we're
bet
tracking.
you they know how many Spud Webb has. I bet you that's a record there somewhere.
True. I don't know. In-game dunks. I don't even think we would track that. How many in-game dunks?
5'3". There's got to be a record somewhere.
He probably doesn't have that many in-game dunks.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying.
Right. But to be fair,
now I want to find out.
Yeah, now I want to find out too. But there was a game that had old school versus new school. You had the Mercury versus the Liberty. The Mercury has Skylar Diggins hyphen Smith. We respect the whole name. Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi on one team. They are all Olympic greats. Just won a gold medal. They're on one team. I don't know about the WNBA parity when I looked at that. But anyway, old school beat new school because new school, Ionescu, plays for the New York Liberty. But she wasn't able to beat that three-headed monster. The other update in the WNBA is Elena Deladon is back. After almost 2 years of not playing with surgery, she's back and she's been balling, I think, averaging 17 points a game. So that's my WNBA update. Russell Westbrook was working with Elena Deladon to get her back to recovery. So I give that to say because y'all know I'm a big fan of WNBA. I don't know if y'all had any comments one way or another before we get into the final stretch. I got to get out of here today, y'all, because I'm on kid patrol. Sometimes that happens. But any WNBA insights based on those brief updates?
Las Vegas Aces, WNBA champions 2021, Asia Wilson, WNBA Finals MVP. I said
that's
it.
What you going? So Aces in 5. Aces in 3. Aces in 3.
Jinx, man. I got it wrong.
Yeah. No, and what that means is do not put your money on Aces. He didn't jinx the hang. Go ahead, Big Flow Show. What
I'm
you
just
think,
happy to turn. I'm just shout out. I don't know when the finals are, whatever. I'm not that in tune, but I am happy that they're just getting more and more pub.
Olympic years, they pause it, so it's different based on Olympic years because they have so many players playing the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
so it'll be later.
I'm just happy. I've watched a couple in the last week or so. I put the game on and watch, and I haven't done that before. And it was they can shoot that thing. I watched the Paralympic basketball. Them boys can shoot that thing too. In the wheelchair, you seen that? Yeah, man, they can shoot that thing. So. So anyway, I'm happy. WNBA team WNBA.
Yeah, that was you know what, man? You are not a spokesman for the WNBA. We're gonna need a little enthusiasm. You know what I mean? Those are
when it goes to 3-on-3, he'll be on board when it goes to 3-on-3.
Whoa. Hey, 3-on-3 on the 8-foot rim.
ETP is alone.
No,
in that 3-on-3. No one else on this show has said that. Just for record.
Listen, you guys can be upset all you want. You talking about lowering the rims. I think it's more disrespectful to talk about lowering the rims.
I think you should lower the rims.
3-on-3.
I think
they should put the game the way they do. They just need to be on prime time, better stations so that I can channel surf and say, "Oh,
right." That's a great endorsement for because you don't watch no games, don't know when the championship is. Yeah, leave it the same height, leave the game the way it is.
Man, they need to come by my house. They need to come by my house and get me so I can
play the hoop on my driveway.
Using those same.
I got a basket in my driveway. They can play 3-on-3 there, and I lower it to 8 feet.
You using that same thing as a reason why you don't watch it. Yeah, keep doing it so I can keep having the excuse not to
watch a little bit.
You don't watch it. All right, Giannis, man. This has been Giannis's year, man. After a championship, he is now showing that he has some business chops. The Milwaukee Brewers have made him a minority owner, and minority meaning minority stake. Not minority in the racial social sense, but he has a minority stake in the Milwaukee Brewers. When it rains, it pours in terms of bad and also good. There's some blessings pouring on that man right now. Invest in some Giannis stock, man. Shout out to him being a minority stake owner in the Brewers. Shout out, man. I ain't got nothing else but that. And I love that story. I love those type of stories. I think more players need to take their platform and enter into the ownership realm. Anything you want to weigh in?
The whole city wants him to stay, so they're giving him every opportunity they can.
Hey, Miller's going to make him a partial owner. He's going to be selling
right. He's going to be straight out the trunk. Hey, man, I got the beers in the trunk. U.S. Open update. A lot of the stars won't be playing. Serena and Venus will not be playing. Nadal, Federer, they all withdrew from the U.S. Open. A lot of them because a contact sport that we all have is Father Time. You know, Venus is 41. Serena is turning 40 very soon. Father Time, undefeated. And you see the U.S. Open without a lot of these greats. We'll see. You know, we're going to be paying particular attention to viewership because we know, especially in America, we want to see the greats. We want to see the stars play. I'm going to be watching because I think the U.S. Open is just embodies so much that's New York, man. I used to love going to the city and trying to catch some of the games and be in that environment. Do we think the U.S. Open thumbs up, thumbs down with these big names not playing? What do y'all think? Is this going to be a dud for the U.S. Open, or do we have so many young, great tennis players that people still tune in? I'll start with you, ETP. Oh, sorry, I'll start with you, Big Flo.
And Coco on those, and Coco doing it, and
I think Coco.
Yeah.
You got Naomi. Yeah, so we got some big names, but
I think, you know, this is the kind of the phase out approach, and I hope that Serena stays for however much longer she goes. At least I want her to outlast Tom Brady, but however long she needs to go and play, she does. But you know, the younger names are starting to get their own little following, so
yeah,
it is a thumbs down because I do like to see when they battle each other. You know, in some regards, but at least you got some people, some names with new following. And for the sport of tennis, just the fact that there's more names out there that you recognize that just come along to great new fans. Everybody got their new clamp. So it's
right. Thumbs up, thumbs down, ETP, because we're about to come home on the final stretch so I can go be dad today.
Yeah, I say thumbs down, but I'm still excited for it. It's the best live sports experience I've ever had. Djokovic hopefully get his Grand Slam, clean up. He get his 4th Grand Slam this year. Naomi's in it. We'll see. I mean, I don't think she's going to do that well. I think she needs to take some time away, but she's still there. She's an amazing player. And then you got Coco Gauff. So yeah, and thumbs down, but there's some good storylines. I think it'll get exciting towards the end, but the early matches won't have people interested because the big names aren't there.
ETP, just put the marker down. Next week, we got to talk about mental health. We talk about Naomi Osaka. Rory McIlroy has been talking about it. So next week, we got to talk about mental health in sports, man, because that is something that, and we've talked about it before, but I think this gives us an opportunity. I'll say this on our way out of here. Mike Tyson has endorsed Jake Paul to beat Tyrone Woodley after, he was very outspoken that his brother was going to get his, whooped by Floyd Mayweather. Are we buying the endorsement of Jake Paul? And does this mean that they've arrived? Mike Tyson has endorsed him. What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down? One last one, and we got to get out of here. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you say, ETP?
Mike Tyson's starting to become a believer. It's clearly good for the sport, and these guys are actually showing that they're at least legitimate at what they're doing. I don't know if they're going to end up being on the circuit, but Mike Tyson told Logan Paul that Floyd was going to beat his fucking ass verbatim to his face just a few months ago. So it sounds like they're gaining some credibility. I appreciate it. Not a fan, but I appreciate that they're getting respect.
Big Flo Show, what do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I don't go against Mike Tyson. So whatever he said, I don't go against Mike Tyson.
If Mike Tyson even dream about whooping my, he better wake up and apologize.
I don't go against Mike. So that's what Mike say, then that's what's going to
happen. Nerlens Noel is basically suing his agent, saying that all the money that they left on the table showed some form of malpractice as an agent. I like that the player is taking this controversy public. And really, it was the agent, because they're not getting paid. And he said, you're not getting paid because you didn't do nothing. Just an interesting story, because we hear Rich Paul and all the things he's done, clutch sports, and we've seen him as a mover and shaker. But the agent and player relationship is a very tricky relationship sometimes. So we're going to follow that saga, and we'll bring it back to you and let you know how it ended. We're going to cut the producer's cut this week just because, again, I got to go be a daddy. But this has been a great show, man. ETP, appreciate your contributions. The Big Flo Show, as always, appreciate your contributions. You guys, this is some great talent
coming together. Parnell back from Haiti. Give him
shout to our guy Parnell, who's on the research team. We really appreciate you, my brother. It's been a great week, man. This week's episode of Contact Sport has been a phenomenal week. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. and we're going to take this home. Any parting shots before you get out of here, ETP?
Yeah, I just want to say I was joking about Adele's boyfriend. Somebody got upset, said I'm minimizing a black man's accomplishments. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I just want to say today is one of the bittersweet
Rich
days.
Paul, he's a beast.
It's the it's the last time I'm gonna have my son's first high school football game. It's not gonna be as somber as his last one, but shout out to the people, all the players that we had over for the shout out to the whole team tonight to go beat Hinsdale Central tonight. Talk about contact sport. We got a soccer player that came over about 6'3", 210, and first time he's gonna take a hit tonight. So I asked him, was he ready? There's no yellow or red cards when somebody hits you in your lips. So be careful when you come out there. So
matter of fact, a red card is what you're intending to do. That's bad intention.
That's a badge of honor.
Right.
So Seth, good luck tonight. We're pulling for you. Keep your chin up, right? Roll the hips. Go to the whistle. But shout out to Naperville Central tonight. Let's go, Red Hawks.
And we'll go out on this, man. The contact sport. I'll shoot my shout out, and then we'll go. We'll let it go from there, man. It's been a great week. I appreciate you guys as always tuning in. Please like, please comment, please share. Tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. The Ball Hawk Sports Talk is here to stay, y'all. We just getting started. A contact sport. We're trying to build a podcast. Get in there, understand the material, and bring it. And that's what we do every week. Rough, rugged, and raw, sports, business, entertainment. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Bryant, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of South, a.k.a. Mr. Success and Celebration, and we is out.